He's a freak of an athlete already.
He can jump the length of a fire truck.
It was pretty obvious that he had a huge amount of talent.
Norris is an amazing long jumper. He's super incredible to watch because he is at like a level of athleticism that not very many people are. And just like all around, anytime that he steps onto the track or near the pit, like he's in competition mode and you know he's about to do something amazing.
The most successful long jumpers are the guys who are the fastest to the board. I mean, it's a speed and power sport, so most important thing for him right now is just make sure he's the fastest guy to the board, and when he hits the board, you know, his body's ready to take off.
So long jumping is a sport inside track and field where it literally is just a testament of how athletic you are, how fast you are, and how explosive you are. So imagine running from a destination on the track, running as fast as you can to hit a board that's about 7 inches wide and jumping as far as you can into a sand pit. So I originally was a basketball player in high school. I went to Roosevelt High School in Seattle, Washington, and I was a standout basketball player. I made the varsity team as a freshman and started and was one of the top leading scorers on the team. And my coach told me that I had either to do a spring sport or to wake up every morning before school and do spring conditioning. So I thought track would be an easy way out. I had never even done track, never even heard that we had a track team.
First time he came out as a sophomore, and at that time Roosevelt didn't really have a all-weather track. We did a lot of our practices out here at the Nathan Hale track. And I recall him being at the first practice. There was one thing it was important for me to know, and that was that he was allergic to running.
Clearly I'm not allergic to running, I just don't like to do it, but it is what it is. I went out for the first meet and I told my coach I was gonna win the state championship. And I ended up high jumping 6 feet 6 inches, which was the #1 jump in the state of Washington at the time. When I graduated high school, I ended up winning 5 state championships, which placed me as the most decorated athlete in Washington state history. I ended up making a world championship team on which I was one of the younger athletes on the team, and I ended up, at just 17 or 18 years old, placing 11th in the world in the high jump and then 7th in the world in the long jump. So at that point, I think that my future was just kind of set on track and field, and I was falling in love with the sport, rapidly, so it's been fun. The reason why I chose Washington is it didn't make any sense for me to have to reinvent the wheel, to go to another state and have to prove myself. So my freshman year in college, there was a tragic thing that happened in my life. The moment that it happened, it seemed like everything in my life just slowed down and everything was extremely vivid. I can remember different colors. I can remember the taste in the air. I can remember all these certain things that were going on. And then when my mom actually told me who it was just everything came to a screeching halt. My dad was actually brutally murdered by his girlfriend. The things that I used to value as far as education, athletics, friendships, relationships, anything, it just was no longer important to me. I remember going back to my dorm room and just trying to act as if nothing happened and getting up to go to school that Monday morning. And I went to practice, I went to class, I went to practice, and one of the volunteer coaches told me that she was like, I don't care what happened to you this weekend. When you're on the track, that's the only thing you need to focus on. And I think at that point, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Nothing in my life mattered to me. I wanted to quit the track team. I actually turned in my gear and my uniform and equipment, walked back to my dorm and began to pack my stuff because I just wanted to leave. If you guys would have caught me when I was a freshman in high school or 7th or 8th grade, my life wasn't what it is today. I was a boy of the streets. That was what I did. I just knew the street life, the thug life, everything like that. And I was willing to go right back to what I was familiar with after all that stuff had happened. And then my coach actually came in and kind of saved my life at that point. And he gave me an opportunity to take some time off And he told me he didn't want to see me at practice, but he wasn't going to let me drop out of college, and he wasn't going to let me quit the team because I needed the team more than anything, especially with that thing going on in my life. So I didn't actually practice at the University of Washington for about 2 months. I just practiced at my high school with my high school coach. And then I remember January 17th, 2005, it was my first college track meet. So I'm walking down to the Dempsey Indoor, and I see my event coach. And I'm like, hey, I'm ready to compete today. And he looked at me and was just like, I haven't even seen you in 2 months. You're not competing anything. So the head coach walked over and was like, he's been training with me. Like, he's good to go. And the thing that was kind of weird to me is like the head coach that is in charge of 120 other athletes is literally taking it upon himself to vouch for me. So the head coach leans over and was like, don't embarrass me. And that day was the mark of like a whole new era in my life. I opened up the competition and I had the #1 jump in the world for about 6 months as a freshman in college.
The Olympics have been a goal of Norris for many years, and he hasn't quite made it.
So I first qualified for the Olympic trials as a senior in high school. And it was just like a great experience to be there and kind of see what things are and see the cool professional athletes do their thing. The next one I had qualified was actually my senior year in college, 4 years later. And to me, that was just something completely different. I actually had an opportunity to place really well and hopefully make the team and things like that. But by far, 2012 was probably the closest I had ever come. I had actually ended up missing the team by 2 centimeters, and it hurt, you know, and it was just like, so imagine putting everything that you have into 4 years, and then you have countless hours in that 4 years doing this like specific craft, and then you get 30 minutes to showcase it. So that was kind of what happened, and it was like, it was just an eye-opener. You know, but this year, the Olympic trials are less than a month away. I'm prepared, I'm ready, I'm confident, I'm fast, I'm strong, I'm injury-free, I'm healthy, and there should be no reason why I don't make this team.
I think Norris going to the Olympics should be a surefire thing.
I think it is certainly a possibility.
It's so cool that Norris is going to the Olympics.
Long jumping to me it's more than just a sport. It's every opportunity that I get to jump is a different experience within itself. It's kind of like life, you know. You get 1 minute to decide your faith and your destiny, and you know, you just go from there.
And we direct your attention to the award stand beneath the main scoreboard. Always an entertaining standout, formerly from Washington, 5th at the Olympic trials in 2012, representing Zenza, Norris Fredrick. Jeremy Tygo. For the top 12, they will move on to the finals in the men's long jump. You see on the scoreboard now the 12 men advancing at the conclusion of today's events at 5:55 p.m. So the last man who could affect the top 8 advancing the next 3 rounds, next on the runway, Keandre Bates of Florida.
He went down this way.
10 centimeters out of a spot to get 3 more jumps. Let's help him out. And Bates into fourth. Little gator love there for Marquise Dendy as well. 27 3 3/4. So Bates knocks Norris Fredrick out of the top 8. And Jeffrey Henderson will be up next.
You know, the toughest part of training, you know, this year was just like knowing that there was such a big milestone towards the end of the season, and staying healthy towards the end of the season was just the biggest thing. So I wasn't disappointed in how I performed. You know, at the end of the day, it's a competition. You know, I wasn't the only person in the world training to make the Olympic team, and, you know, just falling a few inches short, I wasn't upset. You know, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, and, you know, just what I was willing to sacrifice in order to get to where I wanted to be. So, you know, looking back on it, I wouldn't change anything. I would have done everything that I did to get there, and, you know, it just happened to be that I just fell a few inches short. You know, in years in the past, like, winning was everything to me. I wanted to win, I wanted to compete, I wanted to win all these prestigious awards, and I did all that. You know, and now, like, I'm at a point in my career and in my life where I can take a loss and learn and still be a winner.